call the meeting to order for 5:30. Moved by Darrell McLaughlin, seconded by Dave Mackay. Be it resolved that the Council and Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region adopts the agenda for the April 27th, 2016 meeting with an additional item in closed session. All those in favor? Carried. Turn the meeting over to Charlene.
Thank you, Mayor Johnson. So now we go to a budget presentation by Marsha for Public Works capital projects. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. We presented to you two spreadsheets, and one was Plan A, and the other was a Plan B. Now, Plan A is what I submitted to Council a couple weeks ago. I believe it was the last time we met for sewer budget, just to have a review over it. Now, since then, some things have changed, but tonight we are just going to focus solely on, I believe, just the capital roads projects. So in front of you, and I'm not sure if you have the sheets or if you can pull them up on your iPad, we'll present I guess the Plan A. So I will have it up on the screen if you, if you want to look up at it. So we are looking at a total for road construction major on Plan A, just a little of $1.2 million. Okay. And we also have equipment in the roads department of $569,000. So a total of $1.7 million in the road construction major as well as equipment. And then if you look at the capital expenditures for roads for Plan B, Bill has made some changes that I'll let him talk to you about those. But the equipment at this time has stayed the same. Now, just so you know, just remember that all the yellow ones that are highlighted in both Plan A and Plan B have already been on previous budgets. Yes, all the ones on each spreadsheet, the capital Plan A, anything that is highlighted in yellow was on previous budgets, and then also on this one is previous budgets as well.
The one that isn't is Cornerview, but it is on both, but it's not in yellow.
Just the one is, you're talking about Schedule B?
Yeah, but it's just not in yellow. It was on previous.
But only because this year we're budgeting $75,000 in new work. The $290 was in the past year's budgets.
Okay. Oh, that's unhighlighted.
Yes, so there is one that is unhighlighted. Unhighlighted one is because this is the new...
I see, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Okay.
So I'll pass it over to Bill, maybe to go through each plan.
Ready?
Ready.
Okay, so when we looked at our plan back in the wintertime, we were following partially what hadn't got done last year as well as some new work to get done that had been discussed. So that's what Plan A was, and then in the last couple of weeks, some major developments happened on a couple other roads, and I took out the mayor and the Public Works chair for a drive to go over some of the more problem areas that we seem to be seeing in Public Works. So I came up with a revised plan. So St. Augustine Church, just so you know, and Rapid Road, the contractor just got back to me because this was budgeted from a couple of years ago, and he's still holding his price for the work on it. So that's penciled in now for the last week of July and the first week of August. The date's not up there, but I just got that date. Grant Settlement Road, we would look at doing a portion from La Poche Road to Powers Road. Now, the only major excavation to do in that is right over top of a county culvert. Now, I have to have a meeting with the county as well because they are responsible for a certain portion over top of the county culvert. But most of the excavation lays just outside of their jurisdiction over that culvert. So we would be looking at doing digging up, rebuilding the road base there. There's a couple of major frost heaves, doing some sub-drain work in the area to try and get those frost heaves to go away. We believe there's some springs possibly in the road, so if you can keep your road dried out, you're going to have better luck keeping it, and then an overlay on it for that section of road. Then we would look at doing government road, and there's a portion from Beachburg right at Powers Road out approximately 1 kilometer that has very rapidly deteriorated. We've put quite a bit of coal patch on it, and when we were doing some pre-work surveys on the road, there's a few places that I think we need to install some cross culverts, and that might also help with the road staying together. I believe right now part of the problem is the spring melt comes. There's no way for the water to get out of the one ditch, and the water has to migrate through the road, which is causing problems.
So is there a road section on Government Road?
Well, it would go right from Beachburg to Foresters Falls Road, but when it's broke down, I believe it's about 1 kilometer that we would do a total reconstruction on, where we would rip up the surface street, put in some cross culverts, and apply gravel, and then double surface street. And then there's a section in the middle. It's approximately 2.2 kilometers that we would just have to fix up a couple of culverts and then do an overlay. That portion of the road isn't in too bad a shape yet. Then once we get to Fletcher Road, it's from there ahead through to the Foresters Falls Road that we're having some major problems with. And there's a few culverts in there that need to be done too. When we were doing some pre-work survey, we found that a couple of culverts, the bottoms are gone right out of them, so they're going to cause a problem in the very near future.
And you think for 6.8 it'll be 344?
That's what my numbers worked out for. Actually, we looked at doing the entire road with double surface treat, but taking out that section in the middle that's still pretty good, we'd be saving about $78,000 rather than doing the whole thing.
If you're going to do it, you might as well do the whole thing. Councillor McLaughlin?
I'm sorry. I have to agree with Bill. Like from Foresters Falls to Fletcher Road, that needs to be totally redone. That portion. There's a portion then from Fletcher Road towards Beachburg that looks pretty good.
It's not.
I thought it seems a shame to rip it up. I know what Councillor Jackson's saying, but if you took a look at the road, there's a big section. I think where Councillor Mackay, he's taken better care of it, so it's in better shape. But there's quite a section. There must be at least 2 kilometers or more.
I think it's 2.2 when I measured it out.
Yeah. But then there is, like you said, a little chunk at the other end towards Beachburg.
Yeah, there's some culverts that have to be redone in there. Like I said, the bottoms have completely gone out of them. There's a couple of spots that I'd like to install new cross culverts just to alleviate some of the water that, rather than waiting for it to sink into the ground, or so it can get away to the other side of the road and not hold back.
Yeah. Once again, I'll stress, I don't like doing the double surface treat until the following year. Any we've done, I think, have proven that that's a good practice. Am I wrong, Bill, on that?
No, you are right, but that road, I think it's just too busy to wait a year. I think we'd have to just be very diligent in packing in our culverts and making sure that the base is stable before we put the double surface treatment on.
Just to say, I've traveled Magnesium Road, I've traveled Dombrowski Road, which we left for a year, and those are really, I think it's been a really good job done to them. And I understand what you're telling me, so that's just my comment, but definitely from Foresters Falls to Fletcher Road needs to be redone. There's reasons why this happens.
Mayor Johnson?
Yeah, Bill, which culvert's there? Is it the one down in the dip just before Bennett Road? coming from Beechburg?
There's one there, and there's one that comes from, where Paul Clazy's new house is. There's a double culvert there, there's a big one, and then underneath there's a 24-inch that's completely gone.
Okay. That big one in the dip, that's a really big one in that creek. Is that one gone too?
Nope, that culvert's fine.
Okay.
It's the one that's underneath it.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm not sure that we need that one that's underneath it. We may be able to just take it out, repack the road, because the big culvert that's there, it's fine, and I believe it's enough.
It could have been replaced at one time, the big one put in, and just not bothered removing the one below too. The only other thing I would look in case there's some field tile coming through or something.
I would talk to Paul and make sure.
If he even knows what's there. It's long before him. Okay, thanks.
I know, Councillor McLaughlin mentioned about the double surface treatment, but are we just doing single layer at this time and then double surface?
No, the portion that would be tore up and gravel, we'd do a double surface, and then a single over top of the existing.
Okay.
Yeah, and try and hold that for another, 10 years, hopefully.
Okay.
So then we would move on to, actually, with Government Road, because the pit is on that road, it doesn't have to wait for half loads as well, so that could give me an earlier jump on my season as well. So that helps me out somewhat. We can get on it very quickly. There's still snow along the road over there, but it's certainly a big help. I don't have to worry about the half loads during that portion of the construction.
And we'll do the culverts and
Yep.
the rebuild and then the
That's right. For that job, the only thing that I would contract out would be belly dumps to apply the granulars. Yep.
Councillor Mackay?
The only thing wrong with Government Road is that I live there, so people have already said, I see you're getting your road done. I said, it's not settled yet. And then people who live on the road said, Dave, why don't we get our road done? So
who are you going to please, right?
that's right.
Welcome to my world.
We're definitely going to be advertising the fact that it's because you live on the road, Mackay.
Councillor Olmsted?
Just back to the Kerr line for a minute. Can I assume that that's the southeast portion of the road?
Yeah, we haven't got to that yet. That's where I was going next.
Okay, sorry. I thought it was Government Road.
So,
He hasn't followed the list. He's jumping.
well, I was I wanted to lay them out in the order I was going to do them and priority as well. So, I believe that Government Road is probably the highest priority we have this year. Then Kerr line is very close behind second. So on Kerr line, it consists of 3 kilometers that starts just southeast of Acres Road and goes to the intersection at Magnesium. Culverts, I believe they're all in really good shape down there. I think there's one or two that have to get redone. And unfortunately, the 1 or 2 that have to get redone, they're deep, and I guess that's why they weren't done previous. So that will require probably a road closure for a period of time, so that will have to be done in the paper and done through the emergency services as well, circulated. There's a section of that road that was originally HL4 asphalt, and that section is still in good shape. So the proposal would be the portion that's double surface treated, we would go with our machinery and do the grinding up of it, the tearing up, add granulars, replace, I think there's 3 or 4 culverts off the top of my head that have to get done, reapply new granular A onto the base, grade it, and then the portion that's HL4 asphalt, it would stay because it's in really good shape. We'd have to do some matching up with coal patch in order to get some of the cracks filled up and a couple of small potholes, and then we would do a single overlay over that, and I don't remember the exact length. It might be 500-600 meters. It's under a kilometer, but it would save us some money. So, and I truly believe we don't need to tear that part of the road up at this point, so it just doesn't make sense. And then we would go at it like that. So we have Government Road, Curline, and then Grant Settlement. So those 3 roads would be the concentrated part of the first portion of construction this summer, because we want to get our double surface treat done before the 1st of August, or close to the 1st of August as we can. So that's where we would be concentrating our efforts for the first part of the construction season. Then, once we hit July, that's where my major holidays kick in. We have quite a few guys off last week of July, first week of August. That actually makes it easier for me, because those 2 weeks, we plan around that. That's no construction for those 2 weeks. We'll be doing our other maintenance during that time and whatnot, and then we can start back into looking at doing corner view. So that's a big rebuild on that road. We will be looking at digging out, there's 3 sections, I believe, that would be totally dug out on that road, and that road, we'd reapply granulars. I'd like to remove the old train tracks that are there, like cut that hump off, I don't want to call it a realignment of the road, but regrade the road so it's in much better shape and condition. That road, I would say, should not be double surface treated until next year. So we'll leave that road sit over the winter and allow it to settle out better. There's not a lot of traffic on it. By that time of year, by late August, that's when we'd be finishing up, and that's what I'm proposing for that one. We've looked at the culverts. There's a couple that we might have to add onto the ends of them. There's some that have to be replaced, but overall, that major problem up there is the clay coming up through the road. So
There's a fabric that you can put down that kind of helps that as well, and it's, I mean, it's expensive enough, but it's reasonably inexpensive for what it actually does.
that's what I was going to look at doing with that road as well, Charlene, yes.
Yeah.
Is putting the geotextile in and trying to hold
That's
that
what it's
clay
called.
down. Yeah.
We did that on Sawmill Road, and it held over the winter, so now they're gonna surface treat it this year, and it's done a fabulous job.
Yeah, it
It's
really
good.
helps. But you're right, it's expensive.
Yeah, but for what it does, it's well worth it.
it.
It's gonna hold your road. The only concern I have on Cornerview Road, I mean, I would particularly like to see it done earlier rather than later, and the reason I say that is I have driven down it, and even on a motorcycle, I could not find a flat surface.
Yeah.
And there has been complaints from ratepayers on that road for a number of years now. And I'm wondering if it's better off gravel over the summer. I know we don't like to do dust suppressant and all that. There are no homes on that road but one. Well, I guess there's 2 now, but there's the one home is closer to the road, closer down to the lake on actually Cornerview, and then on the other side they're further away from the road, so they shouldn't be affected by dust if there's dust as far as dust suppressant. I'm just not sure where else you have to go with a grader to grade the roads if it's close by. If you're going that way anyways with a grader, is it worthwhile to go ahead and redo that earlier rather than later?
Certainly we could look at that, yeah. As soon as we get these 3 that I'm proposing done, we could move straight to there, absolutely.
Yeah, 'cause it needs to be done sooner rather than, like, it's been on the books now for 4 years, and it's time to me, that would be number 1 priority, just because it's been sitting there for so long, and we have to get it done. I don't want to see come fall again to see that we've run out of time.
Yep.
You know?
Yep, I understand.
That's my concern. So in my mind, that's number 1, and the other ones are above and beyond that. So Councillor McLaughlin and then Mayor Johnson.
I was going to say, the Kerr line, it's quite a piece down from Acres Road. It's, if I'm not mistaken, it's past maybe where Allen Valiant.
It's about a kilometer, yeah.
About a kilometer
Yeah.
from Acres Road, yeah. Because we stopped one time, we stopped there when we did Magnesium Road and Acres Road. You can certainly, as soon as you drive it, you know where it is.
You
There's
can
no
tell
problem.
exactly where it is.
But I'm wondering, like Charlene, if that could be left to be double surface treated, as long as it was going to be done the next year. That's my biggest concern. But obviously, that's just my thoughts. You're the person that knows the best, so.
Mayor Johnson.
I was just wondering if you had intended to, on Cornerview Road, if you'd intended to put that to tender. Was that your intention?
Well, originally it was to put it to tender, but then it's to try and do the work with our crews and with contractors as well to back us up.
Okay, I think I kind of go with Councillor Jackson on this. If we were to attack that with our part really early, meaning as early, like you have to wait till half loads on that road, and then we could turn that then over to a contract for the granulars and if you took the surface off it, I'm assuming that's your intention, is to scarify it,
Yeah.
grade it, and then the parts that are going to be dug out, you'd need 2 trucks and
Excavator.
an excavator. You'd probably find somebody down there who wants to fill, and you're going to have to close that road too, which isn't a big deal because they got Eldon Road and come down on Fletcher or Fott. I mean, and I'm just wondering if that could be a possibility, that would move that one right up. It'd be government road would give you the first chance because of the half loads, and then go to Cornerview, and then come back to the other ones. Would that be possible?
Well, could we contract out the digging and infills of that road, and if there's any culverts to be done? And that leaves us, like, we'll use our crew, the grader and whatnot, to scarify it. That won't take long.
Take the surface off it, yeah. I'm thinking that would be something you have to propose that. I can't propose that. But if council agrees to it, then it would be something you could tender. It would speed that one up, give you more room, and
It absolutely would.
I'm not sure it would be that much more money. You can supply the culverts and you can supply the textile if you can get a better buy than a contractor, and just have them do the rentals. Just a thought.
Well, the 290 plus the 75 is for contractors, or is it?
That was a combined. We brought it back down because I think at one time it was just to do without the surface treatment. I think it was, I can't remember, 375 or something. That I can't remember exactly the number. But we'd be probably close to that with the 290 and the 75 together. We'd be close to, yeah, so now and then we've looked at it, and originally part of the number was to dig out the whole road, and I don't, like, there's parts that don't need to be completely dug out, but the parts that do, absolutely, we will be looking at geotextile, and, you know, once we get going, if we see a problem, we'll be looking at doing some subdrains in there as well, you know.
Like, I'm thinking even to scarify it and grade it would be a lot better off than what it is right now.
Well, what we've been doing for a couple of times is going up with the ground up asphalt and putting it on with the truck and smoothing it out with the loader bucket to try and solve some of the issues. You're absolutely right, it's an atrocious road. So, let me see if I can work a number out that comes close to what we're looking at for a budget with our crew doing the surface removal, and I mean that, like, that can be happening any time now. You can't make the road any worse, right?
No, you can.
So, you know, scarify it, grade it, pack it, scarify it, grade it, pack it, get it to a travelable state, and then I'll come back to you with a number that, you know, I feel comfortable with get a contractor in to do the removal and, the infills back in.
And just make sure that the other access, because I know it's not winter maintained, is,
It is winter maintained.
but the other one is too now?
Yeah, we started doing that a few years ago.
And it's showing that we're winter maintaining
I
it.
bet it is,
Yep.
because it was never meant to be that. That road is ready to go, like, so that it can be used.
Yeah, a proper
when you
access. But
close.
we could also make it so that, you know, whatever contractor's doing it, we tell them you have to have one lane open all day and, oh, look at.
No,
Oh,
no,
To make
that's
sure
gonna
you
cost
know,
a fortune.
And it costs,
It does,
more.
you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
But we have to make sure, and if we do that we're closing that road, we may have to add gravel to Eldon Road before we can do that.
Belly
So-
dump down a few loads.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You have to do it anyway.
yeah.
No, it's not gonna cost extra.
And that's maintenance, so.
Okay, so I'll
So
push,
The further that can be pushed up the line, the happier I'll be.
yep, understood.
Councillor Olmsted?
This too. Are you gonna talk about the Cobham, sidewalks?
So, yeah, sure I will. So in this plan, I've taken the Cobden sidewalks out. When I walk around Cobden and see the state of some of the other sidewalks that we have compared to Main Street, these sidewalks on Main Street are so much better than a lot of the other ones. So with these projects that I do have, we've built into them some contingency. So I'm very hopeful that come August, once the double surface treatment is done, I'm going to be able to come to you and say, look, I've been able to save this amount of money on the projects, but I don't want to, I shouldn't even say it now, in case something does go wrong, and, you know, but at that point, I think we need to start looking at some of the other sidewalks in town. With the Main Street sidewalks, you know, we looked at them, there is places that we can get, just like, it's called hydraulic cement and a special sidewalk patch, and we can rent a grinder to come and take the lips off in different spots. There are a few panels that probably should be changed. I know the work will be awarded this week, Terry, at County for Main Street, I think. I was talking to the county about this job and also the Queens Line job. And I believe they said it was going to county council in the next couple of weeks to be awarded. So, and I believe the low bidder on the job is a contractor that we've used in the past. And I don't foresee a problem that if there's one or two panels that, you know, we really think should be changed out, it's not going to be a problem to change them out. But for the price that we were looking at to do all the sidewalks here in town to fix them up, and looking at, like I said, some of the other sidewalks, it's I can't justify it. So I would like to come back to you, and, you know, I think next year we need to start looking at budgeting money for sidewalks in all of our villages that we have sidewalks in, to bring those back up to standard.
Mayor Johnson and then Councillor Olmsted.
Bill, I was, personal opinion, if you're going to be doing the asphalt at St. Augustine's on Church Street in Beachburg, that won't be until July. By then, there's a very good chance that you will have a real good handle on what's going to take place on Main Street, and I would be personally thinking that we could use that $14,000 as a contingency program this year, because we're doing new construction here and upgrades, and it might be, it's a very little upgrade on Church Street, so I don't think they're going to miss it. And just some coal patch and grade the street for now. I'm just saying that there's $14,000 could go into some panel replacement on the sidewalk if you needed it. Just a simple case of coming back to council at that time and asking us to move the money. Just thought I would throw that out there.
The only problem I do see with that is that it was raised in taxation a little bit different when you raise it in taxation and you're taking it out of reserves. You raised it in taxation for that specific purpose. Yeah, it just becomes a little bit more difficult. Not difficult, you can do it, but it's, I don't wanna say unethical, but
Yeah, well, even if it's unethical, if it's gonna be more of an upgrade, all I'm saying is, the street in Beachburg, that short little piece, I think the, people that go to the church that have requested it would forgive us. They're fairly forgiving people.
Councillor Regia?
I would agree with Mayor Johnson on that, because I've looked at this a couple of times, and if I'm not mistaken, I think the first time this came around was in 2013, maybe, Darrell? I can't remember, because I think it was 2013. And at that time, that church was utilized every Sunday, and I think there was some parishioners in there that was really pushing to do this. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that church now may be used once a month, and, is it twice a month? Okay. But I agree, I think they could possibly forgive us for that, for not using that. I mean, if they just do something with the parking lot, kind of, the gravel, yes, exactly, just to, I think that would suffice. I agree.
Okay. Councillor Olmsted?
Thank you. The 175 that's in that budget, was that to replace all of the sidewalks, or was that to just replace the bad spots?
That was just cut out bad spots and replace bad spots.
Okay.
Yeah. We were looking at close to $400,000 to do all the sidewalks on Main Street.
Okay. And what about did we ever distinguish between the area of the edge of the road to the sidewalk? Who owns that, or who has to maintain that?
It's still a complicated thing, yeah. The county doesn't want to touch anything outside the gutters. They'll cut and patch the gutters and do the work on the traveled portion of the road, but the boulevards, I guess they don't even call them boulevards, they call them like the parking area. It's still kind of no man's land. If we want to improve it, they'll let us pay to improve it. The sidewalk is definitely ours. We're 100% responsible for the sidewalk. And this has always been an issue, and not only in this municipality. There was things circulated a couple of years ago because 90% of the villages and municipalities that pick up snow are along county roads. So, and 90% of the snow that we pick up is off the county road. So it's a service to our people, basically, that we go and pick that snow up. If we didn't pick it up all winter, nobody would be able to park on Main Street. So it's been a sore spot, I believe, for a long time, and it's not going to change. But if at some point we get a ton of money for a beautification program again, then we'll look at fixing up those portions in between the sidewalk and the gutters.
And do we know what timing that the county had for
It's not supposed to start till after Labor Day for Main Street.
So we have some time that...
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor McLaughlin, did you have something?
I looked over your budget, I don't see the Snake River line on there at all.
It's not, that again was going to be part of my contingencies that at the end, say in late August, I would come back and say, look, we've got this much money to go and do some culverts. Now, up on the Snake River line, there's a couple of those culverts are county culverts. And I talked to them about it, and they're not scheduled for replacement for quite a while. And so basically what we would be looking at doing when we go to do it is possibly try and do some frost tapering, just to get those humps out of there. Build the road up where we need to, and most of the cross culverts that are the smaller ones are in good shape. There's one or two big, deeper culverts that we'll have to take a better look at this year, and maybe even try and get the county to take one of them back.
Councillor McLaughlin?
Just, like, once again, like Councillor Jackson said, that's been been a promise for, well, I think even before Councillor Rayer showed up. So that's 6 years and maybe longer than that we were talking. I think it was around 2008. We were talking at that time, and it was brought forward at that time to do it, and we've just kept putting it off and putting it off and putting off. That's that one section, is that correct, Bill?
Yeah, from Waterview up to, right around the bridge, just past the bridge maybe.
Yeah, because we did the upgrades on the other portion of it before that.
To Mountain Road.
Yeah, we've done what I don't understand. I don't know exactly what portions we own. You own, you know. I just remember this has been a promise for those people for, like I say, since 2008, and we should try and do something for them. I think it needs to be done. I understand there's just so much money to go around, but once again, it's been put off and put off.
Well, and
if you could, if you could see somewhere to do something with it, some of it.
When I looked at the roads needs study that we paid for a couple years ago, the Snake River line, it was not as high a priority actually as what government road showed up to be, as Colesmith is actually higher on the list, and just to get a jab in on Terry, so is the Feed Mill Road. It's actually a higher priority than Snake River line is. So if we want to follow closer to our road needs plan, you know, and that's what the government is looking for us to be doing now. We paid money for the plan, follow it. So, but unfortunately the plan calls for us to spend $2 million a year on roads too, which is impossible. We could never do that. But and every year unfortunately a different road falls apart. Like Snake River line, there's probably enough coal patch in it now that it's 4 inches deep right through, and that's why it still falls apart, but not as bad as, you know, some of the other ones. So it's a hard balancing act every year. I know, yeah, Snake River line, it was on the books to be done before I started, and so was Cornerview. But we keep getting into this. Okay, well, we go to
Cedar Haven Park Road.
Yeah, and it got pulled off. You know, so.
Councillor Raker?
I think if my memory serves me right, I think we moved that road to do the Zion Line Road. Am I right, Phil? We moved Snake River Line to do Zion Line 1 year.
I can't remember exactly what it was, yeah. But and there's another thing, in order to keep the roads that we have as good as possible, we need to be looking at more overlays and, you know, trying to save the road that we have instead of letting it get to a point where we've got to rebuild the entire thing. You know, if we can overlay a road and get an extra 5-10 years out of it rather than 2 or 3, we need to be looking at that. It's hard because we have so much hard surfaced property in our township, like a lot of hard surfaced roads. It's hard to get over it all and figure out where should be done first. And to be honest, double surface treatment, the lifespan of that coating is only 10 years. So when you look at that, the first section of the Zion line was done 10 years ago, you know. So I've always said double surface treatment is just a very small step above calcium. You know, at least when a road's done properly with good gravel and calcium, at least you can grade it when it gets rough. When a double surface treatment road falls apart, it costs enormous money with coal patch to keep it up. So.
Councillor McLaughlin?
I was just going to allude to exactly what you said. You take the Kerr line. Now this is twice we have skipped over that chunk that's paved. And if my mind serves me right, that was done in, and maybe Charlene would remember, about 1994 maybe, somewhere there, that portion, because it was all busted up.
Might have been a little bit later than that, 'cause I started in 95 in Ross.
It's someplace between, it's between 95 and 2000, because it was done when it was in Ross. At that time, and we've skipped over it twice. I realize it costs a lot of money to do this, but maybe, I don't know, I've battled that idea too, of just slow down and pave the roads. I know, is it about a third, Bill? Would that be a correct figure,
Well,
or maybe it's even worse than that?
I wouldn't even wanna predict it this year, because I've been hearing really good prices for asphalt, because the oil is way down this year. So I know last year we were looking at approximately $37,000 to $38,000 a kilometer for double surface treatment. $18,000 to $20,000 a kilometer for a single surface treatment, so it's basically half price, because you're only putting one lift on instead of two. And then they were up between $95,000 and $98,000 a kilometer for asphalt, HL4. So you're getting 2.5 kilometers of double surface treatment for 1 kilometer of pave, basically, is the way you look at it.
So when I'm looking at the asset management plan and I look at 2013 road inventory summary sorted by condition rating, number 1 is Corner View, Bromley Line, Hume, Rapid Road, Snake River, Crawford, Bayview, Kerr Line, Cedar Haven Road, Glen Road, then Government Road. That's according to conditions, so I don't know what, I know they have several, then they have benchmark costs, and they have different ratings of what you should do, but that's according to condition, and Corner View was number 1 back in 2013.
Yeah, because when Bromley was number 2, because we were already, had decided at that point that Bromley was getting tore up and Corner View was scheduled to be done that year.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why, to me, again, Corner View is number 1, and the other ones fall under it, and that just...
No, I understand, and I agree. The only reason I'm looking at the other ones is because of the...
half load.
No, it's because to get the work done before the time that's optimal for double surface treatment. So, like for Government Road and Grand Settlement and the Kerr Line, if we double surface treat them this year, we want to have that down before August 1st. Corner View...
Or September 1st, but not really past that.
No, for sure not past that, but if we're doing Corner View, we weren't going to double surface treat it this year anyways. So now, if we do the Kerr Line and don't double surface treat it this year and let it settle out, you know, I'd have to look back at some of the traffic counts. I believe I have some traffic counts for that far end, and maybe it's something we should be looking at, is letting it settle out, because if we're doing, I know there's one that has to be done is...
There are traffic counts on this as well?
Well, those were estimated.
Okay.
Yeah, when they looked at, when they were doing the needs survey, they just estimated between what they saw when they were driving the roads, and kinda Randy was there as well, and they just estimated what it was. But I think I've actually had the traffic counters down there and can give us a better number.
Councillor McLaughlin.
Would you have the counts on the Kerr Line after Magnesium Road was paved, or was it before?
I think it would have been before, Darrell.
Well, then it wouldn't be a true figure.
No, that's true.
You know, that's all I'm saying, and I'm happy if you don't double surface treat it. I would far sooner see that, as long as you put it in your budget that next year it was on the list to be done, because I like to see them done in June, July. When did you do Magnesium Road? Do you remember, Bill, offhand?
That was September last year.
Was it September?
Yeah.
Because it's held up really well. It seems like I drove it this year, and there's nothing starting, it doesn't even look like there's any...
We hit a lucky spot where it was warm during that first couple weeks after.
Well, you could have done it this year in December and still got away with it. But it just, like you say, just a lucky year.
Yeah.
Because I know when it was done before, it was done in September, and the job half of it ends up into the side of the road, and that's what's happened with the whole thing. If the job had held up the way this one looks like it's gonna hold up, we wouldn't be in the mess that we're in.
And it sat with gravel too as well for a year, which really helped out,
Yeah,
just to hold the surface. 4 years?
I'd have to look back and see.
Well,
what
I know it was
It
before-
was 2 at least.
It was before Brumley Line, 'cause
Yeah,
it was
we
tore up. Whenever you tore up Hawthorne Road and Magnesium Road at the same time, and I will say, I think it's 4 years ago, but I could be wrong.
Well. Okay, Councillor Mackay.
Yeah, how long does a paved road last?
Well, everyone's different, but they look at, anywhere from 15 to 25 years for a paved road. Now, there's new things coming out all the time, and new reasons for it. One of the reasons the new pavement isn't lasting is because of, they're actually putting waste oil in the mix. So, it's not good. I blame part of it on that everything we have now is plastic, and they refine that out of the oil to make everything that you've got in your house, whereas 20 years ago that was still in the oil and it held the road together. Like, we've got roads that were double surface treated. Some of the first when double surface treatment came out, and they're in better shape now than stuff we did 5 years ago. It's just not the same as what it used to be. So, and there's new products out that, you can spray on the road, and it's supposed to give the road elasticity again, because it's just like this. It's starting to crack and fade because it's been in the sun too long, So, there's always new technologies coming out, and I think we need to start looking at some of them in order to find ways to save the infrastructure that we have rather than tearing it up and rebuilding it every 10, 15 years. So, that's something I really want to bring forward to council and get your backing on is find these new technologies and don't be afraid to try something. If we can, if we get 1 to work out of 3, we've done our job.